Thank you. This feels so good. And I am so happy that this worked out. It was a last-minute decision because I had a movie, had its premiere last night at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York. I'll tell you a little bit about that movie in a while, but emotion. It was possible that I was needed today to do some press in advance of the next showing of that movie, but only on Friday morning was it confirmed that I could come. And I am so happy to be back in Salt Lake City. It means a lot to me because it was here in Salt Lake City where I performed for the first time before going to Broadway my solo show of Christmas Carol. It was the reception that show got, the enthusiasm and the amazing support of the audiences. We're talking about maybe, what, 18 years ago? Who knows when it was? 1994. And what happened here helped me to find the confidence just 3 or 4 weeks later to step out on the stage of the Eugene O'Neill Theater in New York on Broadway and do the show that had been seen for the first time here in Salt Lake City. That weekend was also Thanksgiving, and so I made the couple of shows that I did here also into a mini vacation, and the producers rented for me a house at Snowbird. And, in those days I was not a skier. Now, watch out. So I was the only person in Snowbird who was walking around the ski slopes. And I felt pretty silly, I can tell you. But the experience was lovely. And that's one of the reasons that I'm so happy to be back here. And these gentlemen have done such an amazing job. I think. And also, the fact that they were prepared to hang on and be patient, because it's not easy when somebody says, I may not be able to commit until 24 hours beforehand. But they were supportive of that. And of course, it meant that I could spend some time, and I don't get to spend enough of it, with Brent and Jonathan and Michael and LeVar and Des and Denise. Okay, that's enough. What we don't want is silence. So, what else do I have to say? Oh yes, I was going to tell you about what's going on. Well, about 15 months ago, I made a small independent movie. It cost less than $500,000 to make. And even if you're not in the movie business, you'll know how amazing that is. It took 15 days to film it, working 10, 12-hour days in an apartment in Crown Heights in Brooklyn. And it's been a little bit of a struggle with this movie. It's really only got 3 people in it, myself and 2 fantastic American actors, Carla Gugino and Matthew Lillard. We had always hoped that the Tribeca Film Festival would want to screen this movie, and when they saw it and said quite excitedly they would love to, we couldn't have been happier. So last night, I went through the somewhat nerve-wracking experience of watching a movie I have, of course, seen several times. I've screened it privately for family and friends. But last night, we sold out a 1,000-seat theater in Manhattan, and the film was received so enthusiastically. We could not have fantasized about a screening going as well as it did last night. The film is called Match. So keep your eyes open for it, because it is our hope that following last night, there will be distributors who will want to put this movie in a very small distribution out there. So it's a lovely piece of work, and it is nerve-wracking, you know, watching a movie with an audience. Largely my career has been in the theater, and when it comes to a press night or an opening night or, you know, an important audience there, you're still in control of the event if you're a stage actor. You can use a little bit more energy or a little bit more commitment or some more emotion, or if it's flagging, you can do something about it. In the case of a movie, there's nothing you can do except sit back and hope for the best. I was so nervous. I have not been that nervous for decades as I was last night. So nervous, in fact, that my wife prescribed half a Valium for me so that I could at least keep still in my seat. And of course, there was a little celebrating afterwards, so I got to bed this morning at 3 a.m. and got up at 6:30 to come to Salt Lake City. I want to ask a big favor of you all. If you see me starting to go, just yell out, "Wake up, Patrick," will you? But I promise you, I'm in no danger of going to sleep. What else? Well, I mentioned a little movie that cost $495,000 and was shot in 15 days. But in about 3 weeks' time, I have another movie. X-Men: Days of Future Past. This film cost a little bit more than $95,000.
Guys, we're going to be putting the cameras away.
And yet again, I haven't seen it. None of us have. You know, we've seen little fragments and the trailers, which look very exciting. And only last week, I was doing what they call ADR, additional dialogue replacement, for the movie. So I was seeing little clips of it. But it looks wonderful. I think it's going to be perhaps the biggest and the best. And of course, it is for the first time combining the older generation of X-Men and the younger generation, in that Magneto and Charles Xavier are played by actors a year or two younger than Ian McKellen. James McAvoy plays Charles Xavier, and he's brilliant. And Michael Fassbender, of course, plays. And there's a guy you will all have heard of, and I'm sure many of you have a lot of strong feelings about him. Hugh Jackman is back. And the amazing, brilliant Jennifer Lawrence. It's just an astonishing group of actors. And I will not see it until the premiere, which I think is the 8th of May. I do know that it's in New York. And we shall all be exposed to it for the very first time. Then the next morning we get on a plane and we fly to London, and we have a premiere there in London. And then we all disperse worldwide.
No pictures, no video.
And because, and so we were given choice. Where do you want to go? There's Beijing, or there's Sydney, or you can go to Rome, or, well, one of the venues was Sao Paulo, Brazil. And my wife, who is a singer, has been passionate about Brazilian music for a long, long time. So I said, given a choice, where would you like to go? So we're going to the premiere in Sao Paulo, and from there to DC, where the Smithsonian Institute is putting on a special exhibition related to X-Men. So if there is anyone here from DC, or if you're going to be in DC in about the 3rd week of April, I think it's like the 17th of May, there is going to be a special exhibition there. But we're all very excited about the new X-Men movie. And something else I want to mention, if there are among you people who like to collect show business memorabilia, or you know you have a particular attachment to Star Trek or to X-Men, I have been amassing for 20 years now a personal collection, my own collection, of crew jackets and end-of-season jackets and cast and crew jackets for movies and things. And so Heritage Auction on the 26th and 27th are having a really wonderful show business auction. It will both be live and online. And I've been through the catalog, and I tell you, there are so many things there I would just love to have in my own collection. There's a huge amount of absolutely unique Beatles memorabilia, for example. Elvis. Movie-related items, some of them going back to the 20s and 30s, that are really exceptional. There is one piece I've got my eye on. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because you'll all go and outbid me for it. But it would be a gift for my wife, because she flicked through it and said, "Oh my God, oh, look what's there. That's amazing." So I'm going to see if I can surprise her with that. So there are a number of items that I have got, one of which is a little rare. Well, no, it's not a little rare, it's rare. When I went to Hollywood to start work on Star Trek, The Next Generation, I had to join the Screen Actors Guild, SAG. And you can imagine what a shock it was when they said, I'm really sorry, this isn't going to work. We already have a Patrick Stewart as a member of the Screen Actors Guild. You're going to have to change your name. And now, I'd been an actor by then for nearly 30 years, and I didn't feel like going on being an actor for the next 30 years under another name. So I invented a middle name. And the name I invented was Hughes, H-E-W-E-S. Why? Because it's possible to say that name and for it really not to be there. I'll give you an illustration. And what is your name? My name is Patrick Hughes Stewart. You don't really hear it. But I have one jacket from that period because then it was resolved and I was able to join the Screen Actors Guild under my own name. This is the only item that actually has my initials on the jacket, P-H-S. So it's a little special. Right, over to you now. Where are we going to start? Yes, here.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations on your recent marriage. And for my question, I apologize for starting off kind of heavy, but you have spoken out about domestic violence, and I was just wondering if there were any projects or charities that you were working on right now in relation to that.
Thank you for that question. I appreciate you asking about this because the work that I do, and I do consider it work, is very, very important to me. I am patron of a British organization called Refuge. It is the oldest domestic violence organization in the UK. They opened the first safe house for women and for their children in Chiswick, London, West London, very close to where I lived. And my then wife and I used to take around sacks and bags of tin things and blankets, and because they had nothing at all. And I do remember, and it made a vivid impact on me and said a great deal about the situation of so many women, that when we went to knock on the front door to hand over whatever we brought along, you would hear, for what seemed like half a minute, bolts being drawn and locks being unfastened, because these women really needed to be protected. So I work as closely as possible with Refuge. They now have over 40 safe houses in the UK, and they provide assistance to victims of domestic violence, to many, many hundreds and across the year thousands of women and their families. And it's very important to note, because there are organizations also here in the United States, the most critical thing that they have is an SOS line, where you can dial and there will be somebody there 24/7 to pick up the phone and listen to what's going on in that person's life. And this is of immense value. Refuge is about to extend its assistance and aid to issues like female slavery, deportation and importation of women from foreign countries, and particularly the tragic condition of female genital mutilation, which is an issue worldwide and needs to be addressed. There's a lot more that I could say, but we have other things to talk about. But thank you very much for your question. I appreciate it. Oh, and by the way, I could just say, because somebody mentioned it to me now in the signing, and I hope I've got this right, but April is the month in which special attention is being paid to the circumstances of women, of females in the military. We're all aware of some really quite spectacular cases that have been written about in the last few months or so. And it is, I did not know that this organization existed, but it does. And this is a month in which they're drawing attention towards the work that is done in all the services in the United States. So let's move on and go to this side. Yes, my dear.
Sorry, not exactly moving on. I'm sorry, I just wanted to say on a personal note, I have been a survivor of domestic violence for 10 years. Thank you for being a real man in this world. I admire your work so much. And my question is, if you could take one Shakespearean actor and turn it into a Borg, which one would it be?
Let me just make sure that I understand the question. If I could take one Shakespearean actor or character.
Sorry, character specifically.
Right. And turn him into the Borg, that would not be a nice thing to do. Would it, you know? Well, I really have nothing against any Shakespearean characters. Some are more interesting than others, and rather, I would wish that I might have Juliet, or Hermione, or Rosalind, or Portia, or any of those amazing Shakespearean women with me on the bridge of the Enterprise. And congratulations on your 10 years of survival. That's fantastic news.
Professor?
That's not possible. They just told me I got 5 minutes left. I said 5 minutes. Okay, go on. Yes, what's your question? I talk too much. I'm really sorry. I talk too much about other things.
Hi. So I love that you are BFF with Ian McKellen. Do you have any good stories about this magical friendship?
Well, a few weeks ago, the Guardian newspaper in the UK outed me as part of the gay community. The very first person to congratulate me on that was my dear friend, Stewart McCallum. The Guardian withdrew the comment 35 minutes later because this was online. Nevertheless, perhaps along with my knighthood, to find myself part of that society, of the gay and lesbian and bisexual community, was a real honor that I am distinctly proud of. So Ian kind of made me me an honorary gay man. Which yes.
I just wanted to say, first of all, oh Captain, my Captain, if you tell me to make it so, I'll follow you to the ends of the universe. That wasn't my question, I'm just referencing.
You got a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you're going to be guest starring on The Big Bang Theory.
I'm not aware of anything that has been sent in my direction to do with Big Bang Theory. But I have a confession to make. I've never seen it. But then, I haven't seen Game of Thrones, and I haven't seen Downton Abbey. I mean, the fact is, largely, I'm a theatre actor for the last 9 months. I know this isn't an excuse because we can record everything now, but I work in the evenings. And if I watch anything when I come home at night, I watch The Late Show with Jon Stewart, or I've recorded, you know, some spectacular soccer matches, and that's what I sit down and watch. But the time will come when I shall be sitting at home watching a lot of television. And actually, I really love box sets. I know you don't have to have box sets now. You know, you can set the television and it will just record everything that comes up. But I was introduced to the box sets quite late when my now mother-in-law gave me a box set of, oh my Lord, Deadwood. I became obsessed with that brilliant series, but so I'm sorry, I'm really a kind of failure in that area. And yes, I see the heavy brigade are here to throw me off. Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Stewart, just between your work with Seth MacFarlane, your work with the sci-fi community, and on stage, where do you think your true passion lies?
Well, yeah, you see already some people are muttering the word out there. All I ever wanted to do was be on stage acting in Shakespeare. There's a lot that I haven't done that I would like to do, and there's a lot that I have done that I would like to do again. So I have to identify that as being my passion, but I am very optimistic that later this year, maybe in the late fall, I will be stepping into a completely different genre of work that I have never done before, and I cannot say what that is for obvious reasons. But I think if it happens, you'll hear about it.
Sorry to have to cover everybody covered this. Thank you so much. Sir Patrick Stewart, now before you leave, let's see if we can get a group photo. Hey, everybody stay seated. We need a group photo. Here we go. So this is a photo op. You guys all get to get a picture with Patrick Stewart.
Stay seated for 1 minute, okay?
Thank you very much. You've been fantastic.
Stay seated.
This has been a magical moment. Remember this for a lifetime. Thank you.
Hey, hold on 1 second though, especially if you're in the North Hall, hang tight for just a minute. There you go, you hear the yells? No, he's over next door saying hello to our neighbors that didn't get to see him in person, so we wanted to make sure. So this is a total of about 5,000 people that got to experience this opportunity at Sir Patrick Stewart. So, thank you so much. We appreciate everybody. Thanks.
Well, guess what I do? I do.